Good afternoon, PM, DPM, and ministers. Warren Fernandez from the Straits Times. PM, this development is quite unexpected, and I think will come as quite a shock to many people in Singapore. And I think one question on many minds will be whether the outcome of the recent general election at both the national and the constituency level had any bearing on the decisions that came to be taken, especially since the factors that have been cited on age and health were not unknown factors to everyone, including the 4G when they made their choice of leader. So I think many will be bewildered about this sudden rethink. So maybe you could address that.
Yeah. I'll ask Swee Keat to answer, but perhaps I'll just say that Swee Keat's already explained his decision to step aside in his letter to me, which you have. The 4G had chosen Swee Keat as their leader to be first amongst equals, but he's given them his reasons, and the ministers have accepted his reasons and his decision. For my part, I have told him that I understand and respect his decision, because it's really to accept it or not is for the ministers to decide. But I know that he has made his decision in the best interest of the party, of the government, and also of Singapore. Swee Keat?
Well, the results in the GE 2020 performance, and in particular in the East Coast GRC, is not the reason why I decided to step aside. When I have been an MP in Tampines for 10 years and worked very well with the team, and I built a certain rapport with the residents. But when East Coast needed reinforcement, I decided to go. It is a completely new ground for me, and I did my best together with my team. And when I went during the campaign period, there were residents who told me that they changed their mind to vote for the PAP since I was there. So that is not for me to judge, it's for others to judge. But my decision is, as I have emphasized, that I am 60 this year, and the COVID situation has disrupted all our plans. I'm very glad that PM is continuing to stay on to see Singapore through this crisis. I think PM has been in politics. In fact, he has been a prime minister longer than most of us have even been in politics. So we are in a good, safe pair of hands. And that is important, which means that by the time I take over, I would be in my mid-60s. And the runway is really too short. And moreover, in a post-COVID world, as I mentioned, when I was preparing the budget after budgets last year, the one issue that kept coming up in my mind is, what will a post-COVID world be like? First, when will this COVID crisis be over? And I think it will take time, notwithstanding the rollout of vaccinations in Singapore and globally. And second, more critically, what will a post-COVID world look like? What will change? And as I've mentioned in my letter, I think a lot will change. And so Singapore needs to plan long-term, and we need someone who is younger with a longer runway to not think in just 1 or 2 election terms, but to think about the long-term future of Singapore and of Singaporeans. And the challenges that we have, the structural challenges, which will creep up day by day, and which will become more and more significant and interact in ways which we cannot predict, will mean significant challenges ahead for Singapore. So it is better for someone younger, with a longer runway, with the support of our people, to take Singapore through in this next phase of our nation building.
Chairman, PM, DPM, may I just add some responses?
Yeah, thanks.
Go ahead.
think I just want to respond to Warren's question about the decision of the 4G back in 2018. Now, in 2018, the 4G team came together. We collectively agreed that DPM Heng was the best choice to lead us. By far, he had the most experience amongst all of us. At MAS, he was a steady pair of hands that steered Singapore through the financial crisis. And since 2011, he had been full minister, and at MOE made very significant changes. And certainly at MOF, 5 years, 10 budgets. So 10 years of effort compacted into 5. But equally importantly, all of us felt that the very affable, collaborative, consultative approach that is very typical of DPM, that it typifies him, best represented the kind of governance approach and style that the 4G aspired to. Working together with Singaporeans, listening to them, conversing with them, working together with them. And that inspired us. And since he became the leader of the 4G, we've coalesced around DPM, we've gelled with him, we've gelled as a team. And most obviously in the last 1 year, during the crucible of COVID, and it's still a crisis raging on in Singapore and the world. And we worked together closely, had to deal with lots of trade-offs. DPM guided us, consulted us, worked with us, managed the different trade-offs. 5 budgets to secure the lives and livelihoods of Singaporeans. That was a very clear example. You'll be familiar also with his coordination of the Future Economy Council. It's not just bringing us as younger ministers together, but bringing together captains of industry, leaders of the labor movement, academics, SMEs, associations, all coming together in this very new style of collaborative governance. And we work together. And the Singapore Together movement, I've had that privilege, together with Grace, to work very closely with DPM on that movement, to bring Singaporeans along the journey of nation building. And so that really exemplifies his style and approach of leadership, and a kind of leadership that all of us, the younger ministers, aspire towards. And so I say this for myself, and I think I say this for the whole of the 4G, that we know DPM's decision was a painful and difficult one, and we accept it regrettably, we understand it. And not just over the last 2 years, but over the last 10 years, I and my colleagues have looked up to him and continue to do so for guidance, for advice, and for partnership. Thank you.